I'd like to read a passage from one of my favorite books, Siddhartha, and give commentary on it. So this is my copy of Siddhartha. I got this in 11th grade in 2009. I was 16 years old, and this is the copy that I still have in reference today. It's about a boy who goes through boyhood, manhood, and old life, and he's on a spiritual path. So along this spiritual path, he meets the Buddha. This takes place 2,600 years ago. There are 1,000 monks in yellow robes who all come to the town at the same time, and of all these people identically dressed, Siddhartha automatically notices the Buddha. He says, so the Buddha's name is Siddhartha Gautama. He says, but he looked attentively at Gautama's head, at his shoulders, at his feet, at his still downward hanging hand. And it seemed to him that in every joint of every finger of his hand there was knowledge. They spoke, breathed, radiated truth. This man, this Buddha, was truly a holy man to his fingertips. Never had Siddhartha esteemed a man so much. Never had he loved a man so much. They speak, he says. Siddhartha says, O illustrious one, in one thing above all have I admired your teachings. Everything is completely clear and proved. You show the world as a complete, unbroken chain, an eternal chain, linked together by cause and effect. Never has it been presented so clearly. Never has it been so irrefutably demonstrated. Surely every Brahmin's heart must beat more quickly when through your teachings he looks at the world, completely coherent, without a loophole, clear as crystal, not dependent on chance, not dependent on the gods. Whether it is good or evil, whether life in itself is pain or pleasure, whether it is uncertain, that it may perhaps be this is not important, but the unity of the world, the coherence of all events, the embracing of the big and the small from the same stream, from the same law of cause, of becoming and dying. This shines clearly from your exalted teachings, O perfect one. But according to your teachings, this unity and logical consequence of all things is broken in one place. Through a small gap there streams into the world of unity something strange, something new, something that was not there before and that cannot be demonstrated and proved. That is your doctrine of rising above the world, of salvation. With this small gap, through this small break, however, the eternal and single world law breaks down again. Forgive me if I raise this objection. End quote. So when I read this when I was 16, I understood everything that he said up till the point of the loophole of the rising above the world. The idea of cause and effect and the unified coherence of events is intelligent and logical conclusion, right? If somebody opens the door right now, I'm gonna look. If I do something crazy on the video, you're gonna react. And then that stays within my mind, your mind, it informs everything that I'm gonna do. It diverts time from what I would have been doing otherwise, and which affects other people in various different ways. The law of cause and effect is rather obvious in a sense. And if you think about it, a virus from across the world can go all over the world. Something that happens in one place, a butterfly flapping its wings in the Amazon can cause an avalanche in the Arctic or something like that. So that's the unity and coherence of events. But rising above is the essence of the Buddha's teaching, and he may have been the first to actually talk about this, which is that we live in a world of form, of cause and effect, of birth and dying, of pain and pleasure. And he tapped into the depth of his consciousness, so to say, the depth of his actual essence, the truth of who he was underlying the temporary form, which was to last between, how old did he live? 60 years, 80 years, whatever it may have been, the eternity that's there within a finite existence, that same eternity that lives within each and every person that we've ever encountered, that lives within me, that lives within you, that lives also within animals, that is the truth, the truth of who you are underneath all of the dressings. Today I may be wearing pink, tomorrow I may be wearing blue. Today I may be healthy, tomorrow I may be sick. Today I may be 27, in 2 years I'll be 29, and 10 years ago I was 17. We change. Our forms change moment by moment. And within the unity and coherence of all events, everything that happens within us ends up affecting the world outside. But again, all of that is still in the domain of cause and effect. Who are we underneath this? That is the salvation that Buddhism talks about. It talks about rising out of the form and seeing who you are beyond it, which is the eternity, the one life, as Eckhart Tolle calls it, which is essentially life, the thing that animates this very life form that I am, or that I'm experiencing, so to say, and the very thing that perceives everything, the watcher, the awareness, so to say. This is the thing that Siddhartha doesn't understand, because he's on a ambitious spiritual pursuit, and he's trying to manually make it happen. He's trying to do everything he can to achieve enlightenment. And it's a noble cause in a way, but it's also distorted, because he's, in a sense, seeking to enhance his form identity. He's seeking to become more, in a sense. And while, of course, that's true, that you do become more in an enlightened state, because you realize yourself for who you truly are, it's not understood through mental concepts, and it's not understood conceptually. It needs to be experienced. So, underneath all the cause and effect, Siddhartha fails to grasp the truth of Buddha's teaching, which is the salvation by rising above the world. So, let's continue in the script. Gautama had listened quietly, motionless. And now the Perfect One spoke in his kind, polite, and clear voice. You have listened well to the teachings, O Brahman's son, and it is a credit to you that you have thought so deeply about them. You found a flaw. Think well about it again. Let me warn you, you who are thirsty for knowledge, against the thicket of opinions, the conflict of words. Opinions mean nothing. They may be beautiful or ugly, clever or foolish. Anyone can embrace or reject them. The teaching which you have heard, however, is not my opinion, and its goal is not to explain the world to those who are thirsty for knowledge. Its goal is quite different. Its goal is salvation from suffering. That is what Gautama teaches. Nothing else. End quote. When I first read The Power of Now in 2012, Eckhart Tolle said that my goal as a spiritual teacher, or my job, is to make you look inside. With regard to worldly knowledge that we may learn about in the news or in textbooks or in novels or through our social interactions, that is to be ascertained and experienced externally through our engagement within society. But with regard to spiritual knowledge, that can be taught to some extent, but it ultimately has to do with going inside and having the awareness that is you, the truth of who you are, that formless one life that is underneath the male or female form, the old or young form, the rich or poor form, the happy or sad form, the one that could be in joy or sorrow, despair or hope, whatever it may be. Feeling that, the real eternity, that is the awareness, that is the absolute truth. It's a matter of that separating itself out from the world that's created by thinking, the world that's created by physical form. And again, it's to be understood experientially. So, yeah. This book influenced me when I read it when I was 16, and as time has gone on, I've come to understand it better and better and better. And I'll probably draw more passages from this later and talk about them. But I hope you enjoyed this, and if you liked the video, please subscribe to the channel. Please share this with others who like it too. I'm Jay Shaw. Hope you enjoyed this, and see you later.